the S&P 500, the Nasdaq 100, and let me just tell you, they had me feeling some type of way. Now, we've had good reactions across the board. As we look at the Dow, as you can see, coming into that massive level we had talked about, the flip clearly happening there. We're still holding that support. You go into ES as well coming into that area, and you might get a better visual of ES and Nasdaq when we look at something like Qs. It's hard to see with futures, but when you look at Qs specifically, I posted this on Twitter. You can see previous highs, perfect reaction. You can go into SPY as well. SPY. You're coming right back into that area as well. You didn't make it all the way down, but you did come to that first little wick about right there as well. So really interesting behavior to start seeing here and what's kind of playing out. A lot of people were talking about the wedge that was happening on SPY and kind of how we're going to move forward. Now you're asking yourself, why is this all for nothing? And let me tell you, it might just be happening.
Oh my God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm.
What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure?
Stay calm.
Yes, as you look at tomorrow, yes, Jerome Powell is speaking at 9:30 a.m. Eastern, so around 8:30, right at market open, essentially. And yeah, I'm not going to even tell you that he's going to say something really great, but what I am going to tell you, what I will tell you about Jerome Powell speaking, I can guarantee you, actually, I'm not going to, I'm like 99.999% sure, he's not going to say anything new, okay? Now, what I will say is at the next meeting, not tomorrow, but on Thursday at 2:30 a.m. Eastern, he's speaking in Europe. And that will be very important. That will be probably the important one at the Economic Forum, discussing with all the other nations. Because right now we're looking at what's happening across the board, and inflation data isn't looking good across, the pond, if you will. But what I will say is on the day, we did have some good news. We did. And you might say, well, Tyler, give it to me. I need some of that good news. Now, if we look at what happened today, you had core durable good. I mean, this is all good, right? This is all buenos nachos good information. Okay. Canada, CPI, core CPI falling, right? Neighbors up north, hey, holler, right? Looking good. You go a little bit deeper. We look at housing numbers. This was the big one. Your housing sales, maybe they peaked now. I don't know. It's hard to say, but housing numbers looked really good. Giving you the best visual, you haven't had a beat or a number with this amount of sales month over month all the way to last March. So for everyone saying the housing market is collapsing, I don't know. And so then you look also at consumer confidence, also pretty solid. And giving you a number on the actual growth, 12% month over month growth on home sales. Now, that's not going to be sustainable to where we're in a home bull market, but it gives you a visual on the strength of what's happening with the housing market, and it's not really like dead in the water. Okay, and we've had good reactions from that data every single time. Again, if you're not following on Twitter, I really recommend doing so. I try to keep you guys as updated with all the big news. Like you can see, like this morning, before we even started bouncing, I said this was pretty bullish in my opinion, worth mentioning. With the headlines won't show you, the drop in price per average home has been around 7.5% over year. But it's worth mentioning, like that was like, I try to tell everyone that I really loved it, right? And I told you why I loved it a little bit down below. Also told you about the key level there. We mentioned 7 hours again. So I try to do my bit. Just all I say is like, hey, just kind of try to pay attention. So looking at the market, I said all that to say this: we're in a decent little bit of a spot. Have I turned into a bear yet? As Matumbo would say, no. Tyler has not. But what I will say is you're at an inflection point. We're at a point to where things are probably going to start getting interesting. Because when we take a look really quick, and where my focus is futures, and someone commented like in yesterday's video, or like a day or two ago, like, hey, Tyler, can you stop talking about futures? And can you just mention the SPY and Qs? And I'm like, well, no, because indexes are more important than what's happening with SPY and Qs. Because if you can understand those levels, you should be fine across the board. So if we look at where we're at and kind of how we're moving here, we go to something like go to the 2 hour real quick. You can kind of see the action in which like is playing out here. And it's not the greatest. Go to the 1 hour actually. Jay has this demand drawn pretty solid. It's about right here. You can kind of see how we formed out here. It's about this level, a little bit lower probably, right? But it's basically between 15.14 to like 15.17. And this is a supply level. I'm sorry. And we've been getting rejected here. And today we kind of got into it and then came back down. Okay. Now, I'm going to say this pretty flat out. If Powell doesn't come out and say anything terrible, start talking about rate cuts and hikes and all this stuff, we look set up. But I don't want to jump the gun. I don't want to get too excited. I don't want to push any agendas or say anything has to happen. Because, again, Powell is the wild card. But before we go into more content, I ask you to do two things. Consider liking and subscribing. I'm never going to push you to do that. But if you get anything out of this, it helps out. And, again, I post Monday through Friday and then something on Sunday usually as well. Also, we have the other channel if you are interested. We have Jay's channel and my channel. I'm doing more educational stuff, and Jay does a lot of education as well. Totally free. If you are interested, also, the Discord link is down below. We post what trades we're looking at, long-term, short-term, everything in between. But I only post what I'm trading. So if I'm not trading, then you're not going to see any trades. So some people, like over the past 5 days when I said I wasn't trading, I wasn't kidding. I was getting into some longer-term positions. I had to cut Netflix today. I took a loss on that one. But I had to, that was it. I wasn't doing day trades. And then today, guess what happened? I said, you know what, boys? You know what? I think today I like this action, right? So what did we do? We waited. We were patient for a market for us that we knew would benefit us. So what do we got? We got NVIDIA. We also got Snow. What did we look at NVIDIA? At 411, we waited for a push up, a retest of that previous resistance, and then a push into around 420, 419, give or take. Now, let me show you exactly what happened. I kid you not. Call me out if I'm a liar, right? NVIDIA, we go really quick around the 5-minute chart today. What happened? As you can see here, you break above, you retest the zone, you push into target 1, 415, reject. You push into where? Target number 2. Buenos nachos, boys. Congratulations. Keep killing it, right? And then Snow as well. Snow didn't get the big breakout, but you still made money. It pushed up to 179 from 175, 176. So no complaints. Good day. But again, I say this all to say, only trade when the market's giving you something, right? So people, did well in the day. Cool. Super cool. But I say all this to say that, but when you're trying to get into trading, you need to understand, one, what type of trader you are. Are you a day trader? Are you a scalper? Are you a swing trader? Are you long-term? What's your niche? Where's your primary focus? Because when you look at any professional or anyone that's a master in a craft, they master one particular thing before they move on to the next, right? And I love using someone like Kobe as an example, right? When he started with that mid-range, and he started with the 3, then he got good at finishing, right? And it was just all around the board, right? And then eventually, when he met Michael, everyone remembers he learned the iconic fadeaway, falling away jumper, right? Mimicked his game. But he did it slowly, step by step. He mastered and mastered and mastered and mastered. He lived it. And then when he got out of the NBA, what people don't talk about is he started to become a master in business, right? And he mastered one thing, and he moved on to the next thing. So he went to body armor, one of the biggest deals that no one ever talks about. And I'm going somewhere with this. And then he went and won an Oscar in film. So not only was he doing one specific thing as an athlete, but he was developing himself one at a time, dominating. What you often see people do, and what you often see, don't get mad at me, you see losers do, is they focus on everything. That's this kind of persona people portray to everyone is, I can do it all. I can flip houses. I can do real estate. I can drop ship. I can trade stocks. Focus your craft, people. And specifically with trading stocks, it's an extremely difficult thing to do. So if you're a scalper, know your strengths, know your weaknesses. For myself, I know based on this year, last year, and the year before that I am a better trader when I trade the trend. So when we're getting a pullback, I'm not interested, okay? Unless the daily and weekly trend change, I am not changing the way that I'm trading. Does that mean that I'm buying nonstop? No. That means that I'm being patient, especially when I'm scalping, right? That's where I know is my bread and butter and how I make all my money. And so it goes even deeper into whatever you're doing. And I just encourage you guys, figure out where you want to start and hone in and get really good at that. And then develop into other things or get more into longer data trades or get into shorter data trades. But I encourage you guys, if you want to see real growth, focus on the little things. I say this all the time, 1% better every day, every day, every day, every day. And if you also do want, I always forget to say this, on our website, you just go to our website. This is absolutely free. So never feel like the need to join Discord, right? We have the newsletter, which I encourage you to join. It's free. And then education newsletter that gives you a bunch of free trades every single week. But this is all written and wrote by me and Jay, just to know that. So you're going to get all this information 110% free. It takes a second to load. I'm sorry. We're not set up on the best servers yet. Shout out Jay. But this is all created by us. So if you want stuff, it's all there. And typically there's a video that's attached to all this as well. So just take a look. Again, it's all there for free. Now, we go back into the day. I'm just going to give you a quick rundown. We're not going to spend too much time on the charts today. You're coming into big levels. You're getting rejected, obviously, coming back down. So right now, I'm going to tell you right now, you're up in the air until Powell speaks. If Powell, this thing goes well, I could see us moving and continuing back up. But I'm going to tell you right now, the big levels to watch. Okay, the 2-hour chart. You have this area right here, the 15,150, and then you have 15,250, which we remember we talked. We're not going to talk about it. The bear shirt, we're not going to talk about it. Okay, so I want to see us hold above 15,000 here on S&P futures. You look really good. Just hold above 4,400. That's all I care about. Just you hold 4,400. We're looking good. We're looking really good. Now, before we go into anything else, I want to talk about something that we've noticed over the past few kind of days. We saw this same type of action when tech was pulling down. And like giving you for instance, like XLK, the tech ETF, this is where we saw most of the blood, I believe, over the past like 3-4 days, right? I would argue that's where. So when we see how we're moving, when we see how we're coming down, that's been the big area for us. Now, what I want to highlight and what I want to say, there's been areas that we've seen support really holding, like IWM. Yesterday we saw a decent hold. Today, a better push, arguably leading us. We are holding below the weekly 200 SMA, but still a really good move there. Better look at the Russell, the whole ETF, instead of the ETF, what's happening here? You're back below 200 SMA on the weekly. As well, the Dow, right? Holding very well. Yesterday and today, moving pretty good. Now, I say all this to say this. Is it possible that we're seeing a little bit of a rotation? A slowdown in one area, moving to others as we come into this slow week? I'm just saying. We had a very strong movement. In the last time we had a move like this, a little bit of a rotation, what happened? What happened? If you were here for the past 3-4 weeks, and you know what happened. Those bears, remember they were yapping at us? They were like, "Oh, Tyler, we're gonna dump your." They were just saying crazy stuff. You broke 4,200, and we moved up basically 15% on ES. You never looked back, right? So I just encourage you, take a step back, do some work, refine your craft in these slow periods that's happening right now. I think today gave us a really good example of a trade of what we were looking for, but understand where you're at and kind of the movement that's probably going to ensue over the next few days as well, because you don't want to focus on trading chop. I say this over and over. If you're a short-term trader, chop is going to kill you. You just create a better opportunity to lose, and we want the opposite of that. We want a better opportunity to win. So just take your time during these moments here. Okay. Now, what do we like? There's a few names I'm liking here. You know what? Pause. Right. Really quick. VIX also still sitting, very low. Everyone's like, oh, VIX is moving up. Congratulations. VIX moved up. We mentioned this yesterday. I was like, VIX moved up, and then it ended red, and then it ended red again today. No, I'm sorry. No one's buying short-term SPX or shorting the S&P 500 and short dated right now. They're still lacking as of right now. Again, DXY still looks really bearish, obviously rejecting off the top of that trend. You're still coming down, looks really bad. I do believe this is eventually going to try to break down and touch the 200 SMA on the weekly. Going into oil also looks treacherous. This is like a really big watch for me. If oil breaks below the 200 SMA, there's a few trades you could look for this. I don't really like shorting energy here because it's so cheap as it is. But what do we know about energy? As energy continues to drop, we know inflation numbers are going to be beneficial to us, and inflation numbers will drop as well. So specifically with oil, if it breaks the 200 SMA, something like USO is a decent name to be watching. Again, don't shoot the messenger, but you break this, I mean, you have room down to, 58 roughly, and then possibly, even lower. But this 58 level right here is going to be huge. So be watching 58.39. You probably test it pretty soon once again. But oil is getting really cheap, and, we know what that effect has on inflation. Yields are still tracking up. This is this is the only concerning part when we look at fundamentals or anything along these lines. Short-term yields are a red flag. Okay, those are a red flag. But I want to say one thing, though. Again, we look at risk on versus risk off. Okay, we had the long, video on that. The risk off assets are not doing good. Energy, commodities are energy, right? Gold still going down, right? No one's really concerned. People would rather buy some bonds, buy some in the yields there, and that's it. Right? Risky assets are still pumping. Now, Bitcoin did have news, but Bitcoin's been breaking out on this week. We mentioned this. Again, if you weren't on Twitter, I also mentioned Bitcoin breaking out. It's all there on Twitter. You can go check. It's all there for free. But Bitcoin's breaking out. So risky assets continue to prove that they have strength. IWM, the Russell, Bitcoin. They're still showing resilience. It's interesting behavior here and causes you to at least pause. So that's why I say the short opportunity for me, it isn't there. The reward potential is very slim, right? It's very, very slim. So we have to just have that understanding. Okay, a few names I'm liking right here. Let me tell you. One, AMD, absolutely loving it. I keep saying it. Dude, I could be eating at McDonald's because I'm loving it. It's beautiful. I absolutely love it. I want to see volume come in. I need to see us get back above like 111 and then around 114. But holding 110 was really big here on the day. But 111, I need to see us above 111 to be really hot, happy, and confident. Still at that position. NVIDIA, do your thing, girl. Go off, king, right? Going crazy. NVIDIA, you're getting some love here. Get back above 420. You look good. But you want to see it hold 410. But again, I'm not. You gotta make this really clear. Short term, unless PAL goes well, you're not looking to trade this. Biggest steal here. If you weren't on our live stream, every day here on the channel we have a live stream. Understand that. 10:30 a.m. Central on this channel. We're live every day. You can only watch those lives unless you're a member of the channel while we're live. So if you catch us while we're live, I said live like 10 times right now, you can watch. But I don't want YouTube to push us as a streaming channel, so I have to hide those, and I could either delete them or I could share them to members of the channel. That's the only way it can go for me. So I picked the latter. So that's where we're at. But what's happening with Tesla? I'm telling you, everyone is telling you to short Tesla. Everybody. And I'm so excited about this that this is the rest of the video. I posted this I retweeted this on Twitter, but we need to understand what is happening right now. You need to understand what is being said about Tesla and where we're most likely going with Tesla. We had the news on GM. Now we're getting the news here. Tesla charging technology is on a fast track to become the U.S. standard via the automotive industry group. Basically, the head of all automotives, like the magazine, they give you all the reports, etc. We need to understand what is taking place here. People that are trying to short Tesla, and I get it, maybe like you're like short term, it has some downside. I believe shorting Tesla is one of the worst trades in the market. I think it is actually the worst trade. Worst opportunity. Down here, remember we bought stock down there after Amazon's earnings. Go watch the tape if you need to go watch it. But I'm telling you, you are still almost 200 points off of your all-time high. That's crazy to think about. You're like 40% off your all-time highs. But understand right now, guys, Tesla is essentially the future of all EV. Even if GM does well, Toyota, all these other companies, they're all going to ride on the coattails of Tesla and their charging tech. In the UK and China and all these other countries, they're focused more on battery swapping. America's not making that turn. We're not. Okay, we decided we're going to go full on charging, which again, I still think power grid and those type of plays are going to be great over the next few years. But we have now put all of our trust into Tesla. And I just don't think that there is a road to Tesla failing. I think it is the dumbest, worst play in the market. Everyone that says short Tesla, I'm like, dude, like, you're crazy. I think you're getting the closest thing to an opportunity like you had with Apple previously. Call me crazy. Call me absolutely crazy. Tesla is not a car company. They are a tech company, and they are proving it time and time again. They're not going to make their money from selling cars. They're going to make their money from their charging, from their licensing deals, from all the tech and hardware that they're selling as additions to their car that are low cost to the company, their solar, and then everything else that they continue to branch out into. I can only say this so many times. Am I saying to go long on Tesla right now? I'm not telling everyone to buy, go crazy. That's not what I'm saying, or buy options. I'm just telling you, the news that we've been getting on Tesla is incredible. It's, in my opinion, better than the AI news that we got from NVIDIA and every other company. Tesla, I have to say it because I keep seeing this on Twitter and social media. I don't care if you drop to 200 again. I still think Tesla is the best opportunity you're going to get over the next few years. It's still very cheap. I don't care. Absolutely love it. People might hate this opinion. I don't really care. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a good one, traders.